This guy again, I'm not the biggest fan of tiramisu, but that 150-hour chocolate cake was so good, and this has piqued my interest. All right, caramel and tiramisu. I don't think I've heard of that before, but yes, please. All right, sold. I need to make this immediately. Yes, that video is by Alvin Zoo, and last month I actually attempted his 150-hour chocolate cake, and it was a bit of a grind, but oh my gosh, it was so worth it. And I'm still clinging on to the last few slices in my freezer. It was so good. Yeah, and like the 150-hour chocolate cake, there is no recipe, so I'm gonna have to do my best to kind of guess and bodge this. And actually on day one, this is kind of the most critical step that could make an actual massive impact in 100 hours time. But hey, this is actually 50 hours less. I don't know what I'm worried about. This should be okay. Let's make some tiramisu. So this first step, he's got some cream on the sides. There's no quantities whatsoever, and it looks like, I mean, I zoomed in, it looked like heavy cream. So this is actually his attempt at making homemade mascarpone.
Mascarpone.
Okay. And his justification for that is if he uses the cream instead, it's literally a fifth of the price. Yeah, so I don't know, I've kind of winged it. This is like what I think is roughly the same as what he had. But for me, rather than it saving a fifth of the price, the same amount of cream, oh, I feel like that might be enough, you know. Oh gosh. The same amount of cream was actually about half the price. So it wasn't as big a saving. That's 1.5 litres of cream. I feel like I might have got too much. Oh no. Oh gosh. And this is what I was worried about, but hey, too much cream will not be a bad thing, as I found out with the chocolate cake, but we won't find out about this until tomorrow. Actually, do you know what? I'm gonna like reduce that down. I'm gonna stick to like 1 litre just to be safe. Yeah, I feel way happier just putting 1 litre in. You know, because to me, that is still like enough. There is one useful thing he does say about this step. He heats it to 190 degrees Fahrenheit, which is roughly 88 degrees C. I don't know that off the top of my head. I just Googled it and we're about 25-ish right now, which means we can actually start to look at the lemon. But I don't think this is the authentic way to make mascarpone. Yeah, I guess like the acid from the lemon, like the citric acid, is replacing, I think cheesemakers use like a special one. But it's the same kind of thing. I guess we're gonna try and make the cream curdle, you know? Yeah, I'm sure like the cheesemongers use something called tartar acid or something like that. I learned that, well I thought I did, in Cheddar, which is quite near where I live. There's a cheese factory where you can watch actual cheddar cheese being made. And I remember that step because on a large scale, it was quite cool to see. All right, so just at over 75 degrees C down, nearly there. And I just Googled it and I asked why 88C, and apparently by warming cream to 88C there's sort of like this sweet spot where it won't curdle. If it's too low a temperature it'll be too thin. I really shouldn't do this, but I'm going to be stubborn and stick to the recipe like I did with the chocolate cake and the 100-hour brownies. I did those too, they were great. You know what, I know we've just literally curdled cream, all right, give me some slack, but I'm really happy with that. Next step is we need to strain this, and this is where this actually gets left overnight to kind of separate any of the whey that might be there, because there's no whey. Thank you. You want that there, there's no thickness, but looking at that, I don't think there will be much. Oh my gosh, look at this. Oh, I think we've got, I was really worried. I've got another bowl and another sieve to one side. I know what you're thinking, what a weird thing to be worried about, but this is the sort of thing I do worry about doing videos like this. I was in the supermarket last night looking at the mascarpone going, well, I could just buy that and not have to worry about this, but no. We have to stay true to these steps. And actually, have a little look under here. You can see a little bit dripping away there. Look at the wobble in it as well. Who knew cream and lemons could be so fun? So this lovely mix has got to cool down, and we now jump to hour 14, 11 p.m. Friday night. Yeah, welcome to hour 14, which to be, I'm going to be completely honest here, I'm not going to wait until 11 p.m. tonight. I see no reason why I can't start doing this step now. So this has been resting there. We're going to put that in the fridge in a bit. So by the time I get this other bit done, well, this can actually go in the fridge and I ultimately don't have to stay up till 11 p.m. at night, because this is like quite a simplistic thing that has to stay overnight anyway. All right, so I'm just putting it to one side because the next step, we actually start to make the ladyfingers. And not just any ladyfingers. If you don't know what they are, they're sometimes used in trifles. And in fact, in tiramisu, you can buy them in most shops. I was like, yes, we're gonna make homemade ones. Oh, of course, we're not gonna do that, are we? We're gonna make a giant sheet of ladyfingers. All right, so for this ladyfinger sheet, he gets some eggs and actually separates it by hand, which is something that he's passing it so delicately there. I don't like the idea of doing that. To get a rough idea, here, because there's no recipe, I paused the screen and looked at the number of egg yolks I could see, and I went for 6. We're just like fast forwarding some steps so I can go to bed tonight. And that's the thing with these recipes, you just don't know until the final day if it's all been worth it. It's kind of a tease. All right, slowly getting there, adding in sugar as we go. He actually had sugar in from the start, which I don't think I've ever done before for whipping egg whites. All right, and we can do this step whilst the egg whites look on. You know what, and I will stick the sugar in for this one, for the yolks. Oh, I love how ribbony that's gone. Yeah, I feel like if there's like one word so far, it's almost like textures. Oh, look at that pouring on. So we fold this through. Oh, wow, look at you. Actually, it's quite a good job that I brought this other sieve in earlier for that cream step, just in case we needed to do it over 2 bowls, because the other one, well, is currently out of action. The good news is it's cooled down now. We can get it in the fridge in a minute. But let's finish off this sponge. Plain flour. And like I say, I'm just doing my best to guess this off of a standard sponge cake mixture that follows these steps. That's literally all I've got to go by. It's nearly there. But whenever I think it fully is, I just see another pocket of flour. So, I don't know, let's just do 3 more lifts and see if we can see any more. Look, there's some there. Brilliant, look at you. I actually have my own idea for a 100-hour recipe. And the dream would be that I do it and then Alvin does it. Oh no! There's an absolute mountain of flour still there. And I massively overfolded that. Oh gosh. Can I fold it on the tray? What? But as I was saying, I had this idea for my own version. It'd be really funny if Alvin did a video in his style in reply to trying it. Except I wouldn't put any measurements either, and it'd be like, so, I want to play a game. All right, so now we bake this thing into my oven, which of course I've forgotten to preheat. All right, so let's get that going. Oh gosh, I forgot on a step. He adds powdered sugar, aka icing sugar, on top. I think I'd like to do that after it bakes, but apparently that will give it a nice crackle, so I need another sieve. All right. So some icing sugar dusted on. I see no evidence that there was a dusted tray here. Right, the good news is my oven is now preheated. In our dusted sponge batter goes. Let's see how crackly it gets. So check this out, look at that. It does look like it has some sort of skin on it. It doesn't look that smooth, so that kind of gives me a little bit of flexibility for it to look not the most aesthetically pleasing. But anyhow, that aside, look, look, look. Can you see down there? If I give it a little bit of a wobble, look at all of that. So it's drained it all off. This is cold, but it needs to get colder. Pressing it onto the surface. In you go. I'm not even touching the bowl. I'm gonna leave it all there. Looks like some sort of like wedding dress. Yes, because that gets chilled overnight in the fridge to potentially thicken up even more. And I gotta say, this has been about 5 minutes. I'm starting to see a little golden color forming, some definite puffage. All right, it smells like sweet egg in here, which if you think about it, it's pretty much what it is. Oh, look at that. There's a couple of patches of icing sugar that have just been like, nope, I'm not doing that. Yeah. We leave this overnight. Hello folks, welcome to day 2 or hour 26 to be specific, and every temptation is there to get this thing out, which is rock solid, but not yet. Yes, although the temptation is there to look at that, we jump to this scene and I think it's a caramel. The only thing I've got to go by is that gigantic, that's a massive bowl of sugar right there where we make a Marsala caramel. Yeah, I'm gonna use a slightly smaller final dish, so I'm gonna go for about 250 grams of sugar. So let's get this into a saucepan. I mean, that does look like a lot of sugar now. Oh gosh, I just flicked sugar everywhere. So it looks like all we've got to do is whisk the sugar over a steady heat to start to caramelize it. It's then gonna get a little bit crazy, and it's fair to say, whereas yesterday was kind of like our creamy day, our spongy day, today is the construction day. Because in a minute, we've got some Marsala wine. Oh! It's like a really sweet dessert wine. I've used it a few times before. Kind of tastes of like honey and plums. But this is actually going in a few steps of the recipe, including here, and they might not get on. All right, whisking it through. Starting to get these big sugar boulders that are breaking down and going slightly yellow in color. Yeah, I don't know if I got enough of this. Actually, I might add a bit more sugar, just to be sure. Yep, that's made all the difference, hasn't it? All right, look, it is breaking down one last little lump that's slowly disintegrating. I'm doing this over a super low heat for some control. But hang on, just before I do this next scene, check this out. He pours in the masala and his whisk sticks. So that's a little bit of peace of mind. If that happens to me as well, we can just keep going with it because eventually it does get smooth. Here we go, lovely and smooth, loving that color. Oh, so we add in 3 tablespoons. Oh, there it is. Oh, now this just smells like a mulled wine caramel. Look at this. Oh, Oh! Yeah, so in goes some butter. Oh, come on. I'm just guessing this. 4 tablespoons of double cream. Oh, that is a beautiful color. Now he does have some fantastic scenes of this like bubbling away, so I am gonna let this, oh look, here it comes. Oh, this is so cool. Why don't I just make like 10-minute caramel? Like, can we just, that would be fine. Oh, beautiful. Now he says about adding salt in, which we will do a decent amount. I love salted caramel, but he says that should make the flavors pop as well. All right, it's time to get this, oh my gosh, out of the fridge. Yeah, look, that is rock solid. I really want to use the pun no way, because hopefully, well, there is way. Way to go. All right, enough dad jokes. But what we do is turn this out. Oh my gosh, we really did turn that out. My siev's got an indent and it's done it there. I've kind of done like a sort of, I've done a creamy Death Star. Stuart would be proud of me. My Star Wars knowledge is coming purely from food. Oh my word. Just for my sanity, this is exactly how his looked in the video right now. It says to get it out of the fridge and let it come to room temperature slightly, and that's what we're hopefully gonna achieve. Look at that blob. All right, welcome to hour 27.25, and it takes a little bit of inspiration from the 150-hour chocolate cake, which I am desperately holding onto. In between these sponge layers, we brushed on something called a hot chocolate soak, and it really helped seep flavor and always took some of the dryness out of the sponge, which of course for the tiramisu is something that I don't like. I don't like that sogginess, but the difference it made brushing it on was phenomenal. See you later, mate. But with this being tiramisu, we're gonna do a coffee soak. Yeah, again, in something that I probably won't need just yet, but we might as well get it going. This is some strong espresso coffee, 300 milliliters of that, in a completely separate jug. 50 milliliters of cold water, some sugar. Oh, masala again. Oh, about 2 tablespoons of that. Nice. And all we do is stir that through really for the sugar to dissolve. Let's give this a try. Ooh. That tastes like someone's laced Christmas punch with caffeine. That is strong. That's got a kick. That's gonna keep me awake for the rest of these steps today. Oh my word. Yeah, no complaints about that. It's starting to get a bit of a skin on it. You can see it thickening up, but we want it to be warm. We probably have to warm this up when we spread it on, but absolutely gorgeous. Right, let's keep going. I said it was gonna be a busy day. It does feel like we're slowly making all of these individual components that are gonna come together to make this epic tiramisu. So this next part, I can see he's got his egg yolks there, he's passed in between his hands again. I don't know why. I'm sure that's really, really nice to do, but part of me just, I don't wanna do that, all right? But this step we're about to do is gonna contribute towards the final cream filling. All right, so I've got a head whisk over here ready, and this was 8 egg yolks, I promise. 6 of them have stayed together, but 2 of them, I don't know, I tried really hard as well. Sugar. All right, so we just start thickening these up, and this should actually help, I believe, with the consistency of the final cream, kind of like that sort of like moussey texture. Yeah, hopefully you can see that's thickened and also gone paler. I'm not sure what the salt went in there for, maybe again a bit of a flavor sharpener, but now our mascarpone joins this party. It looks like a deflated football on a plate. Maybe I should have got this out the fridge sooner. Okay. All right, it's been about 10 minutes of crazy whisking, and I'm much happier with that. Also, as it stands here at room temperature some more, I think it'll whisk even smoother. And also, I need my whisk back because there's something else going in. I mean, it's fairly sturdy as it is. I'm not sure if it needs it, and I think we've definitely got enough now. In here is some double cream. Yeah, I've got far, far, far too much of this. I mean, the cool thing is I could maybe make some baby versions at the end. We might even have some leftover sponge, and you'll see why in a moment. That's really not my priority right now. Let's whisk this through. Yeah, I've got far too much cream here, and that slightly worries me because it makes me think I've got the ratio of something wrong, but we'll worry about that in a few days. I'd like you to meet someone because this is our dish. This is the hero that's gonna bring this dessert all together, but is also gonna be a template. Yeah, so he grabs his dish, and the first thing we should be doing is adding in some of that coffee soak into the bottom. Now, I'm not gonna do that because we're gonna use this. Look, I must have missed a scene. Look, that is a sliced sponge that fits in like a glove. Like a glove? But there is no part in the video telling you to slice the sponge up. So this is where for this recipe, I did do some thinking ahead. I know, quite rare for me, right? Yep, here comes our sponge. Oh my word. It's still crinkly. It feels very, very dense. But when I watched the video, I had to find a dish that would fit 2 lots of that in there. And this is where I was just saying a minute ago, we might get like some spare to make a mini one. This has gone completely against how I thought it would go. I thought you would actually make individual fingers, but no, it's quite clever. We just make a giant sheet. And I think I'm gonna concentrate more on ripping off the other sides. Oh my word, yes. I'm sorry, I don't care. Oh, that is gorgeous. Oh, wow. It's strong. Right, let's get the coffee in there. So just enough to cover the bottom. Oh, that's fitted in there amazingly. Oh, yeah, yes. And now we brush on because we've got already the soak going into one side. That's looking good, but now we've got to drizzle on our caramel, which being completely honest with you, has firmed up a touch, so I'll warm this slightly. Yeah, that didn't take much time to warm that, so I'm just gonna pour this on. I really want to make some millionaire shortbread with some of this now. See, I don't want to disturb the surface too much. All right, let's try and make it look a bit more like a sous. Oh my gosh. And now we get some dark chocolate and we're just grating on. Get on there, my friend, get on there. And now this is where I'm gonna have to be like a little bit methodical with this because this dish just is not big enough. I'm gonna do, I think like 8 generous dollops of this mixture just to see where this gets us height-wise because we've got to get more in, we've got to get a sponge in. Mate, I can't believe you're not excited by this. This is a 100-hour tiramisu. Yeah, we're just gonna go with that. So he's spreading it on there like that. I think mine looks fairly good. And look, there's a very quick scene there. I missed that a moment ago, but I just watched it. He actually brushes, well, because in here you've already got the sponge sat in it, he brushes both sides of this. Having this mat underneath it has really helped me be able to get under this. Oh wow, you can really see the difference of it going in straight away. Look at the color change and the smell, the infusion of the coffee in there. All right, down you go. Oh yes. We then soak away, and this is the much more rigid layer that had the icing sugar on. Yeah, I've got a slight border around it all the way, but honestly, I'm not that fussed. If that's the worst thing that happens, it's a pleasant outcome. But we're not done yet. This is actually quite good to go like back and forth with a couple of motions actually. Yeah, I'm just gonna pour it on and let it be what it wants to be. All right, so you know the drill. Cocoa powder again. I don't think I saw him do grated chocolate a second time on this layer, but I bought a bar of chocolate for this. I'm gonna use it. So I think I did about 11 to 12 dollops in the end. And what I learned was to actually make them touch so that you don't stretch the mix underneath it and ruin the cocoa. I just wanted to get those layers as even as I could. One final dusting of cocoa powder. Wow. I mean, going by that, you can never trust the sides on any of these things like that. Hopefully we can get a decent cross section in the middle. That looks really, really cool though. Oh. Well, honestly, what a day. I've got cocoa powder everywhere. Well, it's all over my counter. We've still got a little bit of caramel left. We used most of that. Still a fair amount of cream, a load of coffee wash, some sponge. Oh, so good. I've got a load of wine left over. 8 egg yolks worth of whites left over, so I can make a meringue with that. I'm not gonna let that go to waste. And of course, completely out of context, a pomelo. But this is it, our work here is done. Our work, you've been through this journey with me. I will see you in 70 hours. This rests for 3 days. Hello folks, it's Thursday evening. I've just got back from a cold, windy dog walk with Boston and I spent most of the time thinking and dreaming about this tiramisu. I mean, I'm just like, surely it's okay. Every part of me wants to gobble that up now, but we're nearly there. I will see you on Saturday. Happy Saturday, folks. We've made it. And I know what you're thinking. Why is it 99.5? Well, curveball. Yes, because once he serves it up, what looks like a pile of sand called butter toffee crunch, which he made yesterday for fun. It's a Saturday, folks, for fun. I wouldn't mind walking the dog a little bit longer, maybe watching some football, having a beer later. I tried to Google what that was and it sent me down some weird like chocolate nutty thing, so I'm gonna try and just make butter toffee and then make it crunchy, which it generally kind of is. So grab myself a saucepan with some sugar, started to get that nice and warm, stirring it, keeping my eye on it, waited until it got amber and it was all fully melted through. And then to make butter toffee, I just shoved in some butter. Oh, you're angry. As it was cooling down by the second, poured it out onto a tray. I tried to spread it out, but it was cooling down so fast. And literally 5 minutes later, I was gonna do this with a blender, but I got a meat hammer and just smashed up little shards. I might actually keep this bit and drizzle chocolate on it because I feel this is a trifle unnecessary. And now in my head, I'm just thinking about a 100-hour trifle. All right, let's do it. Oh my gosh, it is so chilled. I was gonna put cling film on it, but I was worried the cocoa might just completely like get clung onto it. So I like pull it off and there'll be like, I don't know, the cream exposed. But actually that cocoa is locked right on there and he does do, hang on, my fridge is open. He does do one final dusting of cocoa powder. Which I feel, look, that's doing absolutely nothing for me. No. All right, so I can see he's using a clean knife every time. And just before I slice it, I want to give myself a little bit of slack, okay? Because watch this lift here. It starts to happen and then it changes to this other angle there. And my instincts tell me that that is actually the second slice because the first one's probably going to come out a little bit weird. And for Alvin's video, I completely get it. It's got to look beautiful. But for me, that's not really my USP. So I'm saying embrace the chaos. If it looks messy to me, if it tastes good, I don't care. All right, here we go. Oh my gosh, I'm so scared to do this. Oh my gosh, that's firm. Oh no! If I stick that in now, I'm gonna ruin all that. So I will wipe my knife down each slice. Ah, there you go. Yeah, that is. Oh my gosh. I don't know if I've done my caramel too firm. We'll ignore that bit. That's gonna be a baby tiramisu. Come on, let's get this. Come on. Come on, come on. Oh no, it's still joined. Out you pop, out you pop. Ooh, look, that is a confused medley. Look at that. Ooh. Oh no, it's all mushing together, no. Ah. Oh gosh, oh, it's all falling apart. No, 100 hours for this. Ah. I tell you what, let me take my time and do a few more careful cuts. Yeah, that's coming out better now. Come on. Oh, wow. That is my best so far. Yeah, I'm getting there. It's just the caramel's hanging off. Do you know what? I'm having fun. It's all good. I think it's fair to say my efforts have been, I don't know, a little mixed. I mean, it doesn't look perfect, but let me put the sexy lens on and see if it's passable. Yeah, folks, I know this isn't Alvin territory, but this is literally the best slice that I have. And do you know what? That does not look like a tiramisu, does it? It looks like a possibly droopy one from my hacking up caramel, but I am gonna take that and I am gonna enjoy every second of this. Oh no, actually look, I forgot my butter toffee crunch as well. It kind of takes your eyes away a little bit from the imperfections. We have waited 100 hours for this moment. Was it worth it? Alvin serves his with a lovely ruby port. I've got to drive later, so I've got some blackcurrant squash. Remember I said I'm not really a fan of tiramisu. Oh wow, I've got a bit there where the layer is actually, yeah, look at that. See that? Look at that stack. Oh, that is absolutely outrageous. I have to be honest, the coffee taste is fairly mild in it. The dominant is the lemon from the cream. The caramel working with the cocoa powder and the grated chocolate kind of gives it a sort of Twix vibe, but without the biscuit, which I think actually out of a Twix is my least favorite part. It is holding together firm. It's not mushy at all. Oh, I got some of that butter crunch then, and that really does make it pop. Remember, I've done the 150-hour chocolate cake, I've done the 100-hour brownies, and now this, and I don't know out of the three. I think, although I don't really like tiramisu, this doesn't taste like a tiramisu. For this to be more like a classic tiramisu, I think I would have liked a bit more coffee running through it, maybe into the cream, perhaps even a little ramekin that you can dunk it into. Oh, but let's not forget, it is in there. It's just being blended with all those other tastes, and Alvin, you've done it again, mate. A beautiful video, an incredible recipe. And if it means I've got to wait 100 hours for a tiramisu that I actually like, then I would make this again. Hope you've enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time. It's been 2 days since that tiramisu video was made, and I got this amazing video of the different layers that I cut through inside the house the other day with a fork. It looks awesome, and the flavors keep getting better. Unfortunately, I don't think it's got a great shelf life, but I have not been short of volunteers to try it. That truly is a tiramisu that I actually like, and it just keeps getting better.